Hi, and welcome to the 5D podcast in
In
5D.
5D.
That's it. That's all you're getting this week. That's what you get.
Wow, it it
Yeah.
it, it must be the heat because that is the most we haven't tried. Even when we're not trying for these, we're usually trying.
So where you're at, how bad is it?
It's not bad. It's bad for the area. Like it was in mid 80s today. Um,
Okay, so bad for the area, but not bad.
Not really. I mean, I talked to some of my folks up in Idaho, and it's over 100 over there. So
So Portland, where I'm at, typically a cold and rainy place. Currently at 7 p.m. time of recording, it's 110 outside.
wow, y'all are
The
dying.
sun is leaving, and it still has not even bothered to make the attempt to cool off.
To be fair, I will say that even though it's been mid 80s during the day, at night it goes down to mid 70s, which isn't better.
No, it's yeah,
I'm
and
in the
it's same
mountains.
here.
It's supposed
It's
to be colder.
yeah, it's staying 70s, 80s at night. It looks like the rest of the. This is the weather podcast. It's looking like the rest of the night. Look, I saw it was making noise on the recording, but I'm sorry. If people hear a hum, I have to have a fan on. It's
Oh,
so hot.
if we're
It's
getting
so hot. So
personal, I just ordered a swamp cooler that'll be here in 2 days.
I got AC, but the problem is AC typically works best when you have like all of your doors open and it can just circulate through the whole house.
Ah,
But because of our nightmare cat, we can't leave all the doors open because if there's anything on the ground that she can chew on, she will. Clothing, electrical cables, cardboard boxes, like any, and in my office, I have
everything.
equipment
Yeah.
because I'm still running an IT lab out of my home. So there's equipment on the floor, there's boxes on the floor. I have lots of sweaters that they're hung up, but they're
Hmm.
low enough that she could jump and grab, and she will jump and grab. I have all my comics. We have caught her trying to chew on books before, so
And
it's
it's not
like
getting better, is it? You and your
no,
crazy demon cat.
nope.
Well, well, what can I say? You have a demon cat, and I have a dog that has gastrointestinal issues. So
Yeah, and then
what are you
the
gonna do?
poor dog is just allergic to everything. I think she's working on an eye infection right now, and I'm like, how do
Oh,
you get an
sucks.
eye infection? What did you do? Anyways, so yeah, so we have AC, but in my office, honestly, my office is the hottest room in the house. If I go downstairs, our downstairs stays so cool. Like our constant joke is like, haha, we're gonna end up sleeping down there. But I honestly think like maybe tonight ends up being the night where we just go on like the fucking pull out couch and sleep downstairs just to stay cool. Cause fuck. The good news is the rest of the week, at least at night, it's supposed to cool down to the 60s, which is acceptable. I am fine with it being in the 60s at night. That is an acceptable level of heat. But really, I think the message that we can deliver is God damn it, what is it going to take to prove to people that global warming is fucking real? You sons of bitches.
Get a swamp cooler. That's what I'm
Now,
telling you.
my wife really wants to get a swamp cooler. She's been talking about putting one in.
I may or may not have a hookup.
There's other shit. My deck's gonna fall over. I gotta get that shit
This
replaced before it just
this
gives.
swamp cooler was only $250.
Shit, that's not bad at all.
Yeah, exactly. It's cheaper than an in-window AC unit and not as good, but it's on wheels and you cart that son bitch around to whatever room you're in.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So
Luckily, we got central AC, so the rooms that it works well in, it works real. What really screwed us is the jackass who owned our house before us thought he was real good at DIY.
oh
He
no.
wasn't,
Yeah.
and he was growing weed in the garage, and so he air conditioned the garage
Oh, I understand that.
by literally just like cutting a hole in the duct so that the air would flow out there.
That's straight up
Um,
like if I've ever heard DIY, that's DIY as fuck.
Yeah, no, for real. So like we have it patched as best as we can do it without getting it
Mhm.
for like it's got some pillows stuffed in it and then it's duct taped closed. That's the best we can do to like patchwork fix it. Eventually I will just have it replaced, but it's just not in the cards right now. But yeah, so a lot of our cooling leaks out into the garage, which is just great. Who doesn't want to have a nice, cool garage?
Yeah, for reals, right?
All
Actually,
the time
I
you
think my
spend in
garage is
there.
probably one of the coldest rooms in the house already, so I don't know that I would need that, but you do you, kid.
Fucking ridiculous.
All right, so weather eccentricities aside, and I bought a swamp killer. I just keep saying that because I'm so happy. So I've spent a good amount of time this last week just doing shit that I've done before, watching shit that I've done before. But before we jump into that, we promised the audience two things, and we're gonna goddamn talk about those two things.
Do I have to take it all off?
You ought to be a star, don't you? Please don't sue us. We don't make any money. Okay, so let's start with Raya and the Last Dragon. So the reason I wanted to talk about that is because it's been a while since I've seen a Disney movie and gone, okay, yeah, okay, I'm in. The last one I saw before this was Mulan, and my
The live action or the anime?
live action.
Okay,
live
well,
action.
I mean, that wasn't that long ago. That was the last film they did.
Exactly. What I'm saying is, like, it's not like I haven't just not seen Disney movies, is really what I was trying to get at. And that one wasn't great.
Yeah, I didn't watch that one.
As a standalone film, honestly, it was okay. Some of the plot didn't make any fucking sense, and you could really tell where the touch of the governmental influence is all I'll get into was there from the overseas government there. It wasn't great. This movie, it was pretty good.
I liked it. It was cute. It was fun. Aquafina, who, like, when she first came on the scene, I was like, who the fuck is this bitch and why she spell her name that way? But the more she's done, I'm like, no, I fuck with this. She's funny. She's got great timing. So far I haven't seen her in anything where I'm like, fuck her. She's great.
To be fair, she was my least favorite part of this film. But
least favorite because of the writing, or
that's
because
exactly
of the performance?
that's where I'm split, right? Like,
Yeah.
because 100% I didn't like the character at all.
Sure.
I thought that was the weakest part of this movie. It actually took the whole epic adventure and I thought diminished it. Her character.
So we're all give it credit. And maybe this isn't the problem you had, but where I give it credit, I liked that she wasn't the benevolent, all-power, in-control god, because had they done that, this would have just been Moana. So they really had to take their mystic figure and make it not Maui.
For sure.
Because then it, like, literally, this would have just been Moana.
But on the other side of that, I felt like they went too far. Like, the needle went too much in the other direction. Where I'm not expecting her to be the all-knowing. It's just she kind of came off as inept a lot of times.
But that was, I mean, I thought that was the point. She was, she's not just the last dragon. She's the worst dragon. Was kind of the, like I don't feel like that was an accident or an oversight. I felt like that was the goal.
Fair enough. I just don't think it worked. Is really what I'm trying to say. Because I definitely, you know what I think would have been cool? I think if she would have been the counterpart to Raya herself, like, because Raya wasn't inept. Raya was quite very capable, but she also wasn't the best at it. She was still very much learning being a guardian and all that. So before,
by the time the real plot kicks in, she's the best around.
Not really, though. She's pretty good. Oh God, no. Was it
evil chick?
Namari? Yeah.
Well, right, but if the evil chick's the best one, then evil wins. Like name any Disney film where the evil person is the best one.
Well, I mean, you just in general, like Hades was pretty good.
Hades was complete. Hades had never successfully done shit. When we introduce Hades, he has had no successful moment. And honestly, even in Greek mythology, Hades' only win is the Persephone thing. And he only wins the Persephone thing because Persephone tells everybody else, look, I'll just do it because it'll keep the guy fucking happy. Hades has no wins.
So I have a feeling that that's more in the, like, mainstream mythology, but I get your point.
Oh, are you gonna drop into some fucking deep cut punk mythology? Like, what
No, no,
else
no, no,
is
no, no.
there?
In the actual mythology and Greek religion, Hades, while he wasn't the happiest, he was one of the most powerful.
Well, oh, and he also wasn't evil.
Not at all.
But he
Not
was
even a little.
slightly bitter. That, like the most you could say, Hades was a little bitter that he got the underworld while his brothers got the heavens and the ocean. He was a
Correct.
little miffed that he got
He
that, but
definitely
he was not
was.
evil.
But
But there still weren't a whole lot of successful Hades plots. Though that being said, with him not being evil, there also weren't a lot of Hades plots. Big air quotes.
to be fair though, from what I remember, Hades was always represented as that, like, he was more of a force of nature, a thing that needed to happen, versus Zeus, where Zeus was always very much like, he was kind of the id of the gods. He did.
Zeus was the fucking jock bro
Yeah.
of the gods.
But anyways, look, my trouble was that a lot of the times, Sisu is the name of the character that Aquafina playing, the titular dragon, being the last one. I just felt like, even at the end, where and somewhat spoilers, when she redeemed herself, it wasn't really a redemption. It was, yeah, we picked you all along to do this. Good job for fucking pulling it off. Like,
I think my issue lies with you calling it her redemption. She didn't need to be redeemed. She was there to help facilitate redemption of mankind. She was the facilitator. She was not the core of it. She was not the focus. She wasn't the target. She was there to help them do it.
yeah, I just honestly, again, I think the movie was great. I'm obviously nitpicking.
Sure.
I didn't like that character. I thought it was out of place. Honestly, I thought it was goofy for the sake of being goofy. And
but it's a Disney movie. Who else was going to be the comic relief?
they could have played it more up with the cute character. Cute can be goofy, and then that could have been it. The little roly-poly son bitch. I forget its name at this point.
But again, that's fucking Moana, because it's even voiced by the same character. Alan Tudyk played the chicken. Alan Tudyk played Tuk Tuk.
That's true. That whole like maybe Tuk Tuk should have had some lines, but overall it was not a bad film.
Also,
Honestly,
it's weird that Alan Tudyk is now the D. Bradley Baker of Disney. Like only people who have deep cut voice acting knowledge understand that reference. But am I wrong? Like, he's become the D. Bradley. Like, if you need animal noises, you go to D. Bradley Baker. Except Disney now just goes to Alan Tudyk.
Yeah, I don't hate it.
I don't hate. I love Alan Tudyk.
I want Alan Tudyk to get more work, but. All right, so overall, like, I'll give it a quick rating, and then we'll talk a little bit more about it. But honestly, I thought this was a slam dunk 4 out of 5.
Yeah, no, exact same rating.
Yeah.
I'm right there with you. There were parts that slogged, but for me, honestly, more and more as I'm watching modern film, I feel like modern film is falling into the trapping of like tell, don't show more often than not.
Yeah.
And so any movie with long periods of exposition kind of fucking lose me. And this, like, again, it's not particularly this. This, like a lot of stuff, falls into a few like 10-15 minute chunks of exposition where I'm like, okay, I don't care.
To be fair, I feel like some of the side characters were underutilized too. The little chef boy, I wish I was better.
I thought
at
was
this.
going to get annoying, but actually didn't. He was fine.
Yeah, I feel like they could have given him a little bit more of an arc, and I think that probably would have complemented how I feel about Sisu. Because I think those two could have played really well off of each other. So either make Sisu less goofy or make Bound more resolute and have them interact in a way. Like, it'd be kind of quirky to have the youngest character actually be kind of the most serious. Like, I thought that was great.
Yeah.
Also, spoiler, wait like 10 seconds. The fucking baby, Jesus Christ.
The baby was funny. The baby and the monkeys.
It
Kind of unnecessary, but funny.
Yeah, absolutely not. I feel like that was thrown in as a gag that just didn't stop. And
Yeah.
I feel like if there's ever a spin-off, it's going to be about them.
My only question, do you happen to is any of this based off of any sort of
I have no
legitimate
fucking clue.
okay. Like even just like dragon names or so, like I just don't know enough about Chinese mythology to know if any of this is like Moana obviously based
Yep.
off of Polynesian lore and mythology, not saying it's a direct retelling, but it's based off of that. This I don't know if it was totally made up or if it is based off of some sort of Chinese mythology.
So it's not. Raya isn't
Okay.
based on a legend, but it's inspired by real women.
Okay.
So one of
accept
the
that.
co-screenwriters told IGN that Raya is symbolic of the Southeast Asian women she grew up with.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So
I kind of like that they're getting away from just fucking doing legends. Like, if Wreck-It Ralph taught us anything, they don't just need to adapt old stories.
oh, for sure, it looks like a brand new IP was the way to go. I
Yeah.
liked it. I thought it was good. Pacing is a little off. Just there was too many broad voiceovers and stuff. Like
Yeah.
the telling of the stories. I just maybe cut back a little bit on the narration. But yeah, no, it was
But that's
well
a
done.
common problem these days. I can't beat this up in particular for that. Not saying I'm happy about it, not saying it didn't affect my rating, but it's a common enough problem these days. Lots of shit falls into the tell don't show, and these are talkies, guys, but they're still movies. You
Yeah.
can still show and not tell.
Exactly. But yeah, solid 4 out of 5. That's my rating. Anything else you want to say about Raya? I recommend it. Y'all should go check it out.
Be glad that you waited to not pay $30 on Disney Plus for it. I think I
Oh.
would have been more disappointed had I paid the $30 on Disney Plus.
Yeah, coming from someone who paid that for Mulan, yeah.
Oh, you fool.
My Mulan is my wife's favorite movie as a child, so she really wanted to see it, and it came out during the transition time where we were stuck in that little
Yeah.
tiny place, and she just needed some joy. Unfortunately,
Well, I'm
that
sorry
did
it
not
didn't
provide
bring
it.
that.
Yeah, exactly. You stole my joke, you son of a bitch. Okay, cool. Yeah, Raya. It was good. Check it out. The other thing we promised we would talk about is the next episodes of Loki. And I'm making this a two-parter because we're now caught up. So
Yeah.
this will be about episode 2 and 3.
Okay.
You start.
Oh, sure, yeah, let me start with the thing that I saw 2 fucking weeks ago.
Take that.
I don't know. It's
stealing my
progressing
joke.
well. Okay, I think the thing that I didn't want to touch on last week because you hadn't seen it was the reveal that the alternate timeline Loki is female Loki. Sylvie, is that what they're calling her?
Sylvie, yeah, variant. The variant
Yes.
is.
So for the uninitiated, so to speak, this is not a made up thing. This is actually a character. I don't know that she was called Sylvie.
So, hold on.
Um,
Sorry to interrupt because I actually looked into it because I felt something was off. There has been a female Loki, but Sylvie is not that female Loki.
Well, right. This is a take. This is a version. This
Correct.
is an adaptation.
Just for clarification, because I
Yeah.
know the nerds immediately are going to be like, yes, no, that's not Sylvie. Yeah, so
Yeah,
Sylvie
but-
is a thing.
But the idea of female Loki is
Mm-hmm.
not new. It's not made up for the show. And the comic fans, at least in the circles I've run and like the threads and the forums that I'm in, were fans of Lady Loki. It just kind of fits the character very well when you think about it. Not just for Marvel, but in mythos, fucking talking about Greek gods again. Zeus became a bull and fucked a lady. So Loki becoming a lady isn't really that left field.
To be fair, while the bull was the scariest, I thought, well, by scariest, I mean just the concept. But the weirdest I always thought was the eagle.
Yeah. No, so there are plenty of versions of different gods becoming and being represented by different things. So Lady Loki actually went over very well in the comics, and I, for one, was pretty excited to see Lady Loki appear in the show.
Well done.
I'm a fan, and I think the girl who's playing her is doing a great job. I will say that one thing that I don't know if this is helping or hurting Loki for me, but I actually saw just like a blurb online where somebody was like, Loki is just the Marvel Cinematic Universe doing their version of Doctor Who, and I went, hey, oh, no, you're right. And I don't know if I love that or hate that, but they're kind of right. They're kind of right.
The actress playing Sylvie is Sophia Di Martino.
Okay, she's killing it.
Yep, agreed. I figured if you were going to give her a compliment, might as well actually mention the actress's name.
And I think she did a great job of studying Tom Hiddleston and kind of doing a version of not just Loki, but of Tom Hiddleston's Loki.
Mm-hmm.
Like she's nailing that. And this episode 3, she really got to show that off. She got to flex that, and it worked for me. It worked really well.
Yeah, I like their interactions in particular, and the writing. I think the writing for the dialogue is good. It's pretty solid because you can really, he's arguing with himself. It's hilarious.
Yeah.
Like if you part of this is part her performance and part obviously his performance. But the writing, like they are tit for tat. Like you could see it even in the actor's eyes when they seem to be evenly matched. They both go, okay, that's a point for me. It's great.
Yeah.
So I'm definitely loving it, but I want to go back to this Doctor Who thing because I'm a huge Doctor Who fan. I disagree, actually.
Jumping through time and space, going on adventures.
For sure. Except one of the biggest concepts that I find with Doctor Who is choice. Where so far, except for maybe one of the times that he disappeared, Loki so far has just kind of been kind of a victim of his own shenanigans, hoisted by his own petards, so to speak.
Well, but nobody is saying that, like, he is Doctor Who. It's just their take on a Doctor Who story. That's what this is. The Marvel version
I mean, sure, and then Doctor Who's just a take on the Time Machine. I forget what the character's name in that. Like, sure, everything is something else. I just don't think the connection's solid enough.
Fair enough.
Yeah, I just feel like, I'm not saying this couldn't become that, like if they kept going, but at its core, at least thematically, the themes in Doctor Who are very specific. Okay.
The themes in Doctor Who change basically every season and with each Doctor.
Kind of. But that whole, like, you know what? I think I'm about to talk myself out of what I just said because, well, because no. I like the big overarching theme has always been one of choice and freedom and Doctor Who ended up being who he was because he made a choice to embrace this philosophy. He picked the Doctor moniker for a name. It's a whole thing. And while I see some connections where Loki is also very much about personal choice, minus a few little pitfalls within the Doctor Who verse, I think most of the times Doctor Who tends to be kind of selfless, which I don't see in Loki. Again, I'm talking about like
nobody's
thematically. I'm talking about
nobody's
thematically.
saying he's that character, just sort of the type of show that it is. It's a pretty Doctor Who-esque show.
Fair enough. So was Jean-Claude Van Damme's movie, so let's Time Cop.
Oh God, it's been years since I've seen Time Cop, and I thank fuck for every year that goes that I have not rewatched Time Cop.
Yeah. Fair enough. I actually rewatch it every so often, and sometimes I watch the sequel. I have yet to find the show. Private message me anybody who knows where I can get the 4 episodes that actually aired of that show. I love shitty sci-fi, and I feel like that would be the shitty icing on the shitty Time Cop cake.
Ice King on the cake.
Yup. Whatever. It works either way. Back to Loki.
No, I mean, that's really all I had. It's working really well. I like that reveal, but we're only 3 episodes into what I think is a 8-episode run?
For sure. But now
is it 8 episodes?
I have no idea. I was perfectly aware that Loki was going to be a show because we've talked about it. But then it launched, and all of a sudden I was 2 episodes late, and I was like, what in the fuck?
Let's see. I'm going to look up how many episodes.
But that being said, now is the time to speculate. So, any clues as to where the story is going? Do you have any ideas?
Only 6.
Oh, okay. Wow. So
we're halfway through.
Wow, which makes sense because if we haven't even touched on episode 3 too much, just their interactions. But what do you think? Obviously, this is going to be full of spoilers. I mean, come on, how could we not?
I mean, honestly, there's not really much to spoil. A lot like Falcon and Winter Soldier. Look, so here's how I can nutshell this the best. As of time of recording, there are 3 Marvel TV shows. There is WandaVision, there is Falcon Winter Soldier, and there is Loki. If I was going to rank these, WandaVision blows the other 2 out of the water as a very clear frontrunner. Loki so far has been better than Falcon and Winter Soldier, only because Falcon and Winter Soldier, for me, has essentially just been Lethal Weapon with superpowers. It's just a buddy cop action. Nothing overly interesting, nothing world-shattering, and nothing that you would need to see to continue to watch Marvel movies at all happened in Falcon and Winter Soldier. Other than pseudo-spoiler, and if you didn't see this coming, I don't know what you've been watching, but it wasn't Marvel stuff. Like, other than Falcon becoming Captain America, other than Sam Wilson being Captain America, nothing really happens. And I guess Zemo's on the loose, which you could interpret as them trying to make a Thunderbolts something, which could be fun.
I've actually kind of been looking forward to a Thunderbolts something.
It could be fun. It could be. But Loki so far, it's at least better than that because it's not just generic action phlebotomy. But with that said, so far nothing really earth-shattering is happening. And although they were like, you get to find out what Loki did when he grabbed that cube and disappeared. Yeah, apparently what he did was just kind of run around and do something else. So I'm hoping that something will come of it, and I'm hoping that it will amount to more than Falcon and Winter Soldier did. But as far as like predictions on the show, there's nothing to really predict. They'll either fix the timeline or they'll go off on a variant timeline, and then that will just sort of have happened.
Okay, so my prediction is this is their way of bringing Loki back into the MCU.
He watched his own death.
Correct. So he somehow sneaks his way back into the timeline or gets kicked out into the timeline. They bring him back.
I don't think anybody really bought he was dead anyways. They've already killed the fucker like 2 or 3 times. So
yeah, for sure. So that is something that could be revealed. I'm curious. Honestly, the biggest mystery for me is why this show, out of all the ones they could have possibly done, what is this supposed to contribute to the MCU to make it worth it?
I don't think, after Falcon and Winter Soldier, I don't think you can ask that question. Falcon and Winter Soldier did not bring anything other than not doing an opening crawl where they go, Sam Wilson's Captain America now. Because the last we saw, Steve already handed him the shield. So if he were to just show up as Captain America next time, no one would have questioned it. This just gave more justification to it. So what is Loki bringing to the MCU? Probably nothing.
So not a goddamn thing.
I hope there's going to be like a big reveal or stab or a something. But considering how much of the slate is already announced for Phase 4, considering we're very early in Phase 4, I don't see what Loki can really bring to the table unless there's legitimately, like, an entire movie that they've somehow kept under wraps, or B, leads into another Marvel show, but for a property that is not previously established like the other 3 are.
Okay.
Which could be cool. I've actually been saying for a while, honestly, just with how big the X-Men universe is, I personally think the X-Men are better carried out through a show than through a movie. There's just too much going on and too many moving pieces and too many characters who all have interrelationship. I personally just think, like, the X-Men Evolution was fucking dope. And really, You can probably just, instead of writing a script, go grab Ultimate X-Men and lay that on a table, and there's your shot list, and there's your script, and there's your everything. Ultimate X-Men would make a fantastic show. But
yeah,
what is Loki bringing to the table? Something to play out Tom Hiddleston's contract. something to maybe justify why Loki doesn't come back.
Fair enough. Man, I was wondering if it was gonna have a lead in into Love and Thunder, or something like that, like some sort of reveal that will make more sense there, because that's what they're doing with WandaVision.
Thor's not really doing that anymore. Like, Ragnarok was such a departure from the other two, tonally and just across the board.
It's a whole different type of movie.
So do we really need anything to come out of this for that? No, like, they're already bringing back Jane Foster, and we already know that she's going to become Lady Thor. So, like, could they do that? Yes. Could this be that? Yes. But what would that actually accomplish by doing that? Nothing.
Fair enough. I feel like they could do something more akin to, like, instead of doing an origin story for Lady Thor, they establish something here to be able to.
But Lady Thor doesn't really need an origin story. Thor, by means, becomes unworthy, and the next most worthy was the love of Thor.
That sounds weird.
That was the whole. But, like, literally all it took for Thor to become unworthy was Nick Fury whispering something into his ear. And then Thor can suddenly no longer hold his hammer and has to go on a whole... This is in the comics. In the comics, Nick Fury leans into Thor's ear, whispers something, the Mjolnir falls out of Thor's hands, and he's not Thor because he is unworthy. And it spawns a whole side series called The Unworthy Thor. And during that time, it turns out Jane Foster, who has cancer all of a sudden. That part I think we'll probably skip for the movie, because why? But Jane Foster is suddenly worthy, and now she has the power of Thor. Like, it doesn't need more than an opening scene of Thor doing something happening and him becoming unworthy, and then Jane going and looking for Thor and finding that she can lift the hammer because deep down she's worthy. Plus, we've already even seen other people wield the hammer. Steve Rogers picked it up. So, and after not being worthy, I actually just rewatched Age of Ultron, and there's a whole scene where Steve tries to pick up Mjolnir. It almost works, and then doesn't. So with Thor becoming unworthy, being all fat and losery and whatever fucking else he is at the beginning of Love and Thunder, we really don't need that much justification for him to become unworthy, and just have Mjolnir go like, all right, who's second? You. Cool.
Yeah, but I'm trying to remember, does Mjolnir even exist? It kind of does. They changed a bunch of shit, so...
No, Mjolnir exists. Steve Rogers wields it in Endgame.
I think that was one of the alternate ones, because Mjolnir got destroyed in Ragnarok.
Yeah, they fixed it.
Did they? I thought they gave him the axe.
He has both.
Where'd he get that other Mjolnir? Now I'm just gonna be wondering that.
Yeah, I'm Googling it, so you can go on and then you can talk about Loki for a second.
What did you think of the ending of episode 3? The big will they survive or won't they? I mean, it's tough with things like this because we know there's more episodes, but
yeah, I mean, like, obviously they get off the planet. Like, they're not just gonna be like, and then Loki died. Like, this is what did we talk about last week with Chewbacca being killed by a moon? Having him just die on this planet is absolutely akin to killing Chewbacca with a moon. So he's gonna get off the planet. It'll be fun to see how he does it.
Yeah. You're just reminding me, in Legends, didn't Chewbacca get skinned alive?
That's what I had read, but apparently that's like side Legends, and the official Legends canon is he's killed by a moon.
Okay,
he picked it up when he went to the past. Mjolnir is seen at his side when he goes back to the Palace of Stones in the past, and it's nowhere to be seen when he gets back. So he just goes and gets it.
I must have missed that.
Steve takes Mjolnir back into the past with him. You see it on the floor of the platform. Presumably, he takes it back to Asgard, but he could equally as well just keep it for himself. We just don't know what he does with it. But yeah, no, remember, there's time fuckery, and anytime there's time fuckery, everything's better, quote unquote.
Okay, time fuckery, Loki. If you are not watching it, do check it out. It's worth a watch.
Yeah, it's the second best of the Marvel shows that exist currently.
Yeah, your ranking is spot on. And I just want to say about Winter Soldier, Falcon Winter Soldier is when I can guess one of your big reveals in the beginning. Stop, just fucking stop. It's the Village all over again.
Oh God, 10 to 15 minutes into the Village, I called the end of the Village. 10 to 15 minutes.
I actually had that about The Sixth Sense.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't have the chance because my dad literally stood up minutes into The Sixth Sense and went, "He's dead," and then walked out of the room. And we were all like, "Cool, yeah, don't let us watch it or anything." That was sweet. Okay.
No, yeah.
All right, moving on.
I was going to say, yeah, no, everybody claims that they saw The Sixth Sense coming. It's fine, don't believe me. But I looked at, I think at this point it was Madeline that I was watching this with, because that was a long time ago. Actually, I don't even know.
Apparently there was one thing that actually totally gives it away after just a couple of scenes.
Yeah.
He never changes clothes. He's stuck in the clothes he died in. He never changes clothes.
That wasn't what I caught, but yeah, that's a good one. The dinner scene. Anyways,
I haven't seen it in years.
All right, there we go. Okay, so there was another show that we kind of mentioned that I hadn't been caught up on that we should totally talk about. This has been out for, well, actually, I don't even know. I'm caught up.
My hesitation in talking about this is it's been out for a while and you're just so far behind. I don't know how much I have to say about it, but go for it.
What do you mean so far behind? We're talking about The Rookie. Yeah, I'm caught up.
You're right. You've just been so far behind. The season has been over for a couple of months.
Yeah. I figured. How many months are we talking about? Like 6 months? Like the new season's about to start, or
2 or 3 months behind.
Well, yeah, for sure. But so the problem is, do you not remember?
No, I don't remember. Has it been more than 2 weeks? It's fucking gone, bud.
That's actually kind of a condemnation of the show.
No, that's every show. I consume too much media to remember any specific thing about any specific episode more than 2 weeks back.
Oh, wow, that's kind of weird, because I'm sure comics-wise you remember quite a bit.
Yeah, see, May 16th. So you're about 2.5 months back. And no,
wait, no,
again,
get out. It's like a month and a half.
It's sorry.
The end of June.
Goddamn M months. No, yeah, you're right. So yeah, about a month and a half back.
Yeah, that's
so
not
what
a
you're
lot.
saying with what you're saying with a month and a half in podcast time is basically forever. But what you're saying with comics, I'm not saying to remember, like, I can basically tell you loosely what happened this season, but to remember any sort of, like, remember this episode? Same with comics. I can't tell you what volume something happens in. Honestly, especially going back, like, I'm trying to remember what happened in Invincible because the show happened. I can't even tell you what order events happened in. I can just tell you all the events that did happen. And it's the same with The Rookie. I cannot tell you what happened this season versus any other season, or what particular something is weird about this graphic you pulled up where the right side of everybody's face but Nolan's looks funky. They all look like burn victims on the right side of their face.
I feel like what they did was they try to play with their faces. One side is serious, one side is slightly smiling, and it gives that uncanny valley look.
Yeah, I hate this. Okay, talk about the show.
All right, we won't talk about specific episodes necessarily and ask you to remember them, but generally speaking...
Hey, this is your review. You do you. I'll do my best.
This isn't a review. This is a... I wanted to talk more about how you're liking the show so far.
It's great.
Is it really, though? Like, are you happy with it? Like, how do you feel the characters have been portrayed?
Yeah, no, I like the show. It's one me and my wife watch, like, like this is probably her favorite running show right now.
Okay.
She's super into it. You know me, I'm not huge on crime procedurals and cop dramas and stuff, but I do like this, and I think that's largely like Nathan Fillion's what got me to watch it. The show for me is really sold on its cast.
Okay.
But with that said, it's nothing I haven't said in my other reviews of The Rookie. Nothing has really changed. Season 3 was great. I think season 4 will be fun. I was both elated and disappointed that they brought in the character. I can never remember his real name. Greg. He played Mac Partman in Heroes, but they brought him in for one season as the new old rookie, and he ruins it day one and is not on the show anymore. That was like great and terrible because I love that actor, but you know, fuck it. I guess he's gone.
Well, okay. I agree. The characters are what sell it. The stories are, I mean, they feel topical, but since the show tries to pretend like it's taking a stance, but it's not really taking a stance on shit, so it just feels kind of like blandish.
I mean, I think it definitely has a message it's trying to put out there.
For sure. Sometimes it feels like wishy-washy, I guess. Like some stuff's okay, but sometimes some stuff's not.
How so?
Same thing. So like they're portraying a lot of the racial tension and all that stuff, and we don't usually get into this stuff of the podcast, but sometimes I feel like at one point they want to portray how like it's great, but other parts it's like, oh no, it's totally bad, which would be fine if that was the message, because I feel like that's real life.
But doesn't that not mirror real life? Like, yes, there are bad cops, and it's well established that there are problems with police in the U.S. right now. I don't think anybody can deny that there are some issues with police and policing in the U.S., but the show does a good job of, at least in my opinion, of whelming that and recognizing the issues, but also making it a point. We were just hanging out with a mutual friend of ours who, and this is not me faulting him for any of this, but he tends to fall on the more extreme side of like, don't trust any of them. They're all bastards. Can't like never had a good experience, never will have a good experience. It's all bad. Where I think this show takes the more, in my opinion, realistic approach of, yeah, there's a lot of really bad stuff. But just like anything, you can't point to anything and make 100% rule. And the show tries its best to show that it's not 100%. It's probably the show probably does show it smaller than it really is, but how do you do a show about a bunch of crooked assholes and have people like it? You have to have a cast of at least likable folks. But
that's true.
With that
I mean,
said,
you could always
the
do
world.
Was it The Wire?
I never saw it. I've heard good things, but no comment. Only because I don't know. But my bigger takeaway is there are no 100%. There 100% of cops are not evil monsters, just like 100% of X ethnicity is not X thing. You know, like, not all Asian people know Kung Fu, but a lot do. You know what I mean? Like, you know, it's that same kind, like, sure, I get like a stereotype wouldn't exist if something didn't happen once, but to try and put real numbers to it and make blanket statements is just silly and dumb. Yeah. Do I know what the ratio of good cops to bad cops is? No. And unfortunately, with a lot of what the internet shows, it does seem like it's pretty fairly in favor of awful cops being the majority, but I don't know that that's true. I'd like to believe that there are good people getting caught in bad scenarios, but I don't know. Yeah. I think the show does, I will agree with you on, it does seem to lean a little heavier handed on like, but most of them are trying, and I don't know that that's true, but what I do like is it doesn't pander and go, they're all just out there doing their damn jobs. No, it shows that, like, I even love the lazy cop that they have on the show.
Yeah.
Smitty. I like Schmitty. I like that character, and I like people's attitude towards it, because he's not crooked, he's not taking bribes, but he is just kind of a shitty, lazy cop who's never going to do much with his career. And even he admits, no, I do this because it's comfortable and I'm not looking to stick my neck out, and that's just where I land. And I was like, damn, you know what? Like,
well,
I've actually probably the cops that I've dealt with, honestly, have probably more been that guy. In my experience with dealing with law enforcement, I've just had the lazy asshole who just doesn't want to deal with paperwork and is just like, fucking go away and stop doing bad things.
Yeah.
Okay.
To be fair, though, they did Schmidt in the I know you don't remember episodes, but in one of the first episodes, they did the cop who just wants. He's not Schmidt. He's not a shitty cop. He's an okay cop. He just wants to go home to his family. He's okay just, giving up parking tickets. He doesn't want to be in any of the action. He's chill, just doing the bare minimum just to get to his retirement.
Yep.
Yeah, that's fair. I will say that they do show that. I feel some of the stuff is heavy-handed, and while it may further...
But that's procedural dramas. Medical dramas are heavy fucking handed.
That's true. My least favorite part is the personal with his family. Like, I know they try to do a big twist with that, and I was just like, who cares?
Yeah, that's not why we were the other stuff with the son.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not why we're showing up.
Yeah, it was like,
hate to say it, that's not why we're here, folks.
No, like who fucking cares? And they even had the girls, Deschanel's her last name. I forget her first name. But
Zoe?
Huh?
Or the other one? The one from Bones or the one from New Girl?
The one from Bones.
Okay, yeah, I don't know her name. I'll look it up.
I obviously. So she shows up, but I feel like, why?
Emily Deschanel.
There you go. I like why? What did you bring to this role that? I
mean, she showed up for the audition. That's what she brought to the role.
Fair enough. Yeah. No, I just thought it was whatever. Yeah, I like it. I still like all the characters. Though that one little plot point, and I just call it out because I felt it was silly, but with the celebrity boyfriend.
Yeah.
I felt like that was taken up and then just dropped for no reason.
It was. Honestly, I think because it wasn't doing anything is why it was dropped for no reason. They probably meant it to be bigger and it just did not hit with audiences as well as it should have.
I feel like they killed it too soon because, like, oh, hey, y'all should really not be together. Okay, we're kind of not. And it's all hidden and it all worked out, right? Like, they could have probably done some more. It can also
come back.
It's true. But now they've torpedoed that character. Like, he was, he wasn't who he said he was. He was some criminal from Australia or something. He has an accent. I wish I was making this up.
Yeah, that's right.
Like, it was a total, like, telenovela kind of moment, and I was like, what the fuck? Like, what do you...
But the whole show, I mean, how many fucking shootouts have they gotten into in Nolan's, like, couple-year career? And I'm like, look, L.A. is not a great place, but it is not a constant war zone like this would have you believe. This show is like how they try and make downtown Portland look right now, to the point where, like, me and my wife still have family where it's like, are you guys okay? They found out I have to start going back to the office, like, are you going to be okay going into downtown? And I'm like, yeah, I've been going into downtown at least once a month the whole pandemic.
Yeah.
It's fine.
It's fine.
It's not what they make it look like. There are not fucking armed guards combing the streets and constant shootouts and fires. It's fine.
Also, I feel like
fine.
I feel like they would have gotten, if they had been as heroic as they are portrayed, I feel like that rookie shit would have been cut out way before this.
Yeah.
And so what happens now? Like, in a month, he's not a rookie anymore.
Yeah, I mean, he's not going to be, but then I imagine it's going to be, especially since he's going down the path of training rookies, it's going to be about the people he trains.
Okay. Fair enough. That's funny. Nathan, I was laughing because there were a lot of moments where Nathan Fillion felt like the best actor in the room, and I love Nathan Fillion, but I never thought I'd see that.
I don't know how to feel about his character in the new Suicide Squad. I feel like it's such a throwaway. Like, there's no way that character makes it to the end. So is he on screen for 10 minutes? Is he on screen for 2 scenes? Is this like Brad Pitt and all them in Deadpool 2? It's definitely a throwaway. Just to what level? I'm like pre-annoyed.
I do want him to get more work. I think he does well. There were a couple of scenes where like okay, the big end of the season thing was the thing with this kid, and he's there with the family, and I'm like, you're the only one I believe.
Yeah.
Oh man. But
all right, you have a game that you want to talk about that I don't want to listen to, so you talk about that, and I'm gonna go pee.
Okay. Well, that's really sad because I wanted to tell you about it, but.
All right, I'll sit here for it. Okay, watch me tell you how much I don't care, and you're never gonna win me over on this game. Go.
Right. So I just finished Mass Effect 1. I'm playing the Legendary. Of course I am. On my PS5, surprisingly. This is the first time I've played these games on the PlayStation platform.
Have they been out on PlayStation before this? I don't think they were.
I honestly have no idea. I thought they were an exclusive. I was surprised that the Legendary was released on all platforms, honestly. But also, it's a really old game, and that's kind of what this game. I didn't enjoy it as much as the last time that I played it, and especially when I played it on PC. I feel like the graphics suck so fucking bad, and that interface was murdering me. So not as great. Story's still like, it holds up, but I can totally tell like the first time that I went through it, it's been so long I didn't remember some of the plot points, but they're starting to come back, so it's not quite as enjoyable. I am really happy I'm now playing Mass Effect 2 because, God, those graphics. I'm normally not a graphic guy, like 100%, but it's really hard to aim at shit in a first-person shooter accurately, like this game kind of requires. There's first-person as well.
There is no unless they've changed it. There is no first-person in Mass Effect. First-person is Doom.
No, you're right. It is third-person, but you can aim first-person when you're shooting guns, I believe.
You can aim like you're in Doom, where you're just looking at hands and the top of a gun?
No, it just sights in.
Yeah, if you can see the person's body, it's third person.
Okay, I realize this, but there are when you sight in with your weapon, especially the ones I was using, it's just mostly crosshairs.
I fact check you on this. You keep talking.
For sure. I think I finished it like 98% on accident. I accidentally skipped this one mission, and then jumped into the mission that ends it all. But it was all like nonsense. Also did the DLC.
I see a total of 0 screenshots showing anything in first person.
Well, those people are all lying, and I am correct.
Mass Effect, first person.
Anything?
Mass Effect 2 adds first person mode. Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 2, Mass Effect 2. Nothing on Mass Effect 1 with anything first person.
Maybe I'm just remembering the goddamn sniper rifle because it was the primary that I always fucking used.
Maybe.
But yeah, I remember a whole lot of crosshairs and me trying to get people inside of them and shooting their faces off.
Well, just because you can see crosshairs doesn't mean it's first person.
Yeah, I have a feeling that that's what I was referring to, and I was just outright wrong. And I am adult enough to admit it, and I hate you forever.
Yeah, you're welcome.
But anyways, I'd still recommend it to folks. I'm not trying to sell you on it.
Okay, I had to pull up a video, and yes, it looks like with a couple of specific guns, like the sniper. Okay. Hold on, I now question all this because this guy is just clipped through the roof by running really hard. So I don't know that I buy it anymore.
That's funny. But yeah, check it out. I'm playing Mass Effect 2 now. God, that
also known as the Mass Effect that ruined Mass Effect 4. I didn't hate 1, and actually, the one thing that everybody was like, it's the worst part of the game. The Mako is not that bad. You can't flip that thing if you tried, and believe me, I've tried. The Mako, like, were they way too long? Yeah.
I got stuck in the Mako for the first time. This is the fourth time me playing the series. I got stuck in the Mako for the first time ever, and I was like, how is this even possible? I got myself...
I mean, like, and anybody complain that the Mako takes too long? Well, nobody's twisting your nipples to do all of it. So, there's, that's like, true. You don't have to do 100% of the shit in the Mako. So if it's too long, don't do it. Try hard.
For sure. I will say that I wish there were more Thrasher fights. That was kind of fun.
Yep.
And now that I have the vehicle in number 2, I remember how much I fucking hated it.
See, I don't even think I made it to the vehicle in number 2.
You get it later on as a side mission. You earn it. And then you get to do those missions. I have a feeling that it was DLC, or maybe it was one of those pre-order bonuses that they just threw in. That is one thing crazy. All the DLCs thrown in, and a bunch of like the armors that were like GameStop exclusive. Yeah, those motherfuckers weren't exclusive. They're in the Legendary.
Of course. The only thing I remember about fucking 2 was my constant thing I complain about, the bullet mechanic system, which is fuck stupid and makes absolutely no sense. And then they replaced the Mako missions with some stupid, like, satellite resource mining bullshit, which was infuriating and stupid. If people thought the Mako was bad and that was good, don't ever suggest a game to me, because you and I clearly just have different opinions on video games.
I agree.
Those were awful.
It's really fucking obnoxious. I'm like, why?
Hey, you know what sounds like fun is just this thing where you have a satellite and then click and say, go over there.
It's even worse than that, dude. I wish it was click and go over there. Now it's hold, listen to the noise, feel for the vibration. The stronger it is, the closer you are to an element. And it gives you this like chart with wavelengths, and it goes, the higher the wavelength, the more of this element is here. Yeah, it's kind of infuriating.
It's fucking stupid.
Yeah, pretty dumb.
Mass Effect 2 sucked.
I don't hate it. I like the new game mechanics more. I feel like they're more fluid. The using of the powers, I find myself actually using the powers in 2 right now. Versus...
Well, but and like I've told you, that's part of what gimped me, is I imported my character from number 1, who was all ammo specialty, because in the first game, you had unlimited fucking ammo. Then in the second game, I import my character, and they're like, yeah, you run out of that, so your powers are fucking worthless. Oh. Cool. And then, like, there were multiple points where, like, I literally just couldn't beat it because there was not enough ammo on the field. It was fighting what are they called? The fucking robots, the Gex or whatever.
The Geth, because they got all the fucking shields.
So it's like one of the first big Geth first or second big Geth fights you do, and I mean literally, there was not enough ammo on the map that I was playing for me to survive. And I get what you're supposed to do. You're supposed to then default to using your powers to kill them. But when you have a build that is entirely focused on ammo specialty, you're fucked.
I think
there's nothing you can do.
I think you're talking about the mission when you go to try and recruit Tali.
Maybe. I don't fucking know. All I know is I literally played it for like 3 or 4 days, couldn't beat it, came back to the game a couple years later to try it again, and got stuck at the exact same spot and went, fuck this. Why put a build in the game if the build is not structurally sound to beat the game? And the worst part is, the big selling part to Mass Effect at the time was like, the game what you do in number 1 matters in number 2, which in my opinion, Final Fantasy had been doing that for years. It was just called Disc 1 and Disc 2, and you didn't have to spend $70 to get Disc 2. But like, importing the character fucking gimped you because they fundamentally changed how the game worked. It was not the same mechanics in Game 1 and Game 2, so why am I importing a character from a game with completely different fucking mechanics?
I have a feeling that what they should have added is a chance for you to respec.
I think it did have that, but like, how do you know you need to do that if you haven't played it yet? You're starting the game new, and they're like, it's Mass Effect 2, and so you go, cool, I'm going to import my character because they said what you do in number 1 matters in number 2, and here I find out they fundamentally changed how the game plays.
That's true. They 100% did. I just, maybe they should have allowed you to respec in a better way in the game, because you can reset points in Mass Effect 2, but you have to like spend resources to get there.
Maybe what they really should have done is had a big warning at the beginning of the game that went, yeah, that thing, the galaxy all agreed that infinite bullets was dumb and we should all go back to having bullet counts. Because as a society, that whole fucking game was stupid. And honestly, from what I've read and what people have told me, what you do in number 1 matters in number 2 really doesn't. It was a couple of like side quests that were slightly different depending on some decisions you made.
It sort of, yeah. There's a couple of big choices that actually matter, but those are the big ones that everyone's already talked about. But all of those like side little ones, I will say that I enjoy getting caught up on where certain missions, the choices where they ended up.
There was so much time between 1 and 2, at least with the way I play games, I probably wouldn't have remembered.
Yeah.
Like, unless it popped up and went, because you did this in number 1, I honestly would have gone like, because there's the whole thing with the Wrath Queen or whatever.
Rachni.
Sure. Dude, I'm doing pretty well on these fucking names considering how much I hate this series. Come on, I'm at least getting a lot of the letters correct.
To be fair, at this point I've talked about it so much, you better fucking know.
The fucking Rachni Queen or whatever, and I'm told like, oh, these people come up to you and they're like, she sings this song that's so pretty or whatever. I would have been like, what? I don't know what you're... With how much time... Like, if I was playing them one after the other, sure. But with how much time passed, I would have been fucking lost. I'd have had no clue.
Okay, so here's what's sucky about that, because I remembered it my first playthrough because it was such a big moment for me.
Yeah, and you had spent like a month jerking off to the game.
But no. That's... It was way after, right? Like, I'm talking about the first time I went through it. Like... Yeah. Several years, but first
I mean, you were so much more emotionally invested.
No, actually, sort of. I to be fair though, it was a building thing because Mass Effect. Remember, I played it way after it came out,
so you had less time.
So I played it way after it came out, and I also didn't get Mass Effect 2 at launch.
2007 to 2010.
Yeah, I wasn't making the money I needed to make to be able to afford those games. I used to play these games over at your guys' house, remember?
Yeah, no, I know.
Because my first console was... Well, my first console was an adult, I would say. Before that, like, I think I went from having a PS1 to having... Jesus, what year was this? Maybe I'm just wrong. The Xbox Elite, when was that?
A year or two after the X360.
So it was 2007.
So the same year Mass Effect came out.
No, the Mass Effect 2, right?
No, Mass Effect 1 was 2007, Mass Effect 2 was 2010.
Then why the fuck did I not play it until way later?
Maybe you played 2? I think your timeline's fucking in your head, big guy.
Well... Yeah, because the problem was I was super behind on all this because I wasn't even peripherally... Like, Mass Effect 2 came out and I didn't care because I hadn't played the first one yet. I must have been super fucking late on... Well, just like fucking everything else. Look, I'm watching The Rookie now.
Fair. All right, we're already running a little late. Put a bow on fucking Mass Effect and let's put a fucking cross on this burial ground.
You should get the legendary and play them all the way through, just for fun.
I'm not gonna.
Yeah, you should. I'm doing it. I have a feeling I'm gonna regret it. All right, check us out Monday nights. Usually 7 p.m. 8
usually
9 no usually 7 p.m. Check us out In5D Podcast on YouTube. Also Thursdays live in 5D Podcast, also on the Metagame Network Twitch. That's twitch.tv/Metagame Network. Is Bias Bros on Thursdays. Have you been doing the guest hosts or?
Well, with Jay out for an extended period of time, we're taking a little break.
Okay, fair enough. There you go. Bit of a break, and then I guess we'll tell you when that's coming back. All right. Anything else? What you got?
That's it.
Tuesdays nights, multiplayer night, twitch.tv/Metagame Network. We might play Red Solstice too, I think, for folks who know this. Bye.
Bye.